Welcome to Energy is Currency, the Millennial Development Podcast devoted to helping you mind your business personally and professionally. My name is Alexis Williams, and I am your marketing consultant, idea generator, and mini modern philosopher, the entrepreneur that checks all the boxes, whatever that may mean. Subscribe to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and iHeartRadio to listen to every gem in every episode. Season 1 is available on all streaming platforms. Alrighty, welcome back to Energy is Currency. I am Lexi, your favorite podcaster, helping you bridge the gap. We are learning how to mind our business personally and professionally. And today I have another phenomenal interview. I'm so excited to introduce you to Charity Brown. She is the she's your favorite coach's favorite coach. She's like the coach of all coaches. So we're going to
Oh,
let her figure out how she's been changing the industry and helping us transform our energy and make our energy our currency. So, Charity, give us all the details. Give us the scoop.
well, hi everyone. Thank you for that amazing intro, Lexi. You are so sweet. And I really appreciate that. And yes, I'm from Create Clarity with Charity Podcast. I'm a coach and author. I'm really excited to share with you my happy CEO method and the 4Ps framework, an overview of the program, which will help elevate your energy so you can get more currency.
Ew, ew, ew. Okay, cool. So wait, you mentioned the four P's. The four P's what? Tell me about it again.
The four
Tell
P's
us about
framework.
it. What is this?
Yeah.
I need to hear about this.
Yes. So this is, part of the happy CEO method. Like we all want to be happy, right? Like we don't
Right?
want to be the mad, ugly, grumpy CEO. And that's what most people think when they hear CEO. And if you're a
Unfortunately.
business owner or an executive CEO or an entrepreneur, you know that the stress that it takes to run a business and have a team and, keep things profitable. So the happy CEO method was a method that I created from my experiences with being an entrepreneur and working in corporate
Mhm.
America.
Mhm.
And I used to own restaurants, lottery facilities. I had an accounting business called Cubics
Oh,
Financial.
dope.
And I also was a fractional CFO for corporate hospitality. And so I got a lot of insight on how it feels to be stressed and to be unhappy CEO. And
Yeah, you
so,
lived it.
yeah. So, and I went through burnout and I wrote a book about it.
Mhm.
And I wrote a book about how we can transform ourselves. Because if I showed you pictures of me 10 years ago, you wouldn't even believe you're talking to the same person. I
Really?
completely changed my life. I lost 100 pounds. I, got my own house. I moved to Phoenix. I started running my own business, making $250,000 for 6 months. Like I really like went from just because of mindset and the energy that I was carrying around inside of me that was self imploding, the anger, the resentment, the frustration,
Mm.
that was blocking all my blessings and all my abundance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I got some great coaches, mentors and coaches. Alan Knight, who is a former Zen monk,
Mm.
who created the 9 steps to inner freedom, which helped me shift my, internal energy into more magnetism and positive energy to realign my life.
I love this.
Yeah.
So that's phenomenal. So, okay, what reoccurring like emotions or cycles or what patterns are you noticing with like high level execs and business owners and entrepreneurs energy wise? Like,
Oh, frustration, anger, stress, not taking care of them. It's literally part of the human condition. And especially if you're in a high level responsibility position, like an owner or a CEO, you're going to feel that. And
Yeah.
they don't teach you how to guide yourself through those emotions that people usually end up just stuffing, because in corporate or in business world, it's really, you're not supposed to show your cards. You're not supposed to show you're stressed, you're barely making payroll, or your margins are down, your taxes are up, so and so's didn't show up. So
Right,
it's
right.
like a lot of things that make people stressed and, have that
And them
energy.
holding it all in.
Yeah. And carrying that around and blocking themselves from their abundance and their blessings. And they wonder why they keep hitting that glass ceiling, why they keep, losing money, or why, they're just not getting what they want, is because they're going against, they're not taking the time to do their inner fitness, essentially.
I completely 100% identify and resonate with that. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I
And if you're a
started my
mom
business,
too,
huh?
and if you're a mom too, so I was a mom running all this and in school and doing, I was literally self imploding. I was so like heaviness. So,
Self imploding. That's such a powerful phrase to use because I get it. I get it. I get that feeling of it all being stored up and there not being an outlet for it. I
yeah.
had to start doing yoga. Once I started off yoga because I wanted to work out, I needed to work out, but I didn't want to go to the gym. I wanted something that felt like I was undoing. And in all of that, the physical undoing, it started to do an emotional undoing and a mental undoing and a spiritual undoing for me. And I needed that. I needed that outlet. And I remember the first few months of really taking it seriously and remembering like going to class, and every class was a breakthrough and every class was a aha moment, or a, oh I learned so much, and I was like, I needed this.
Yes. And
I
that was the
absolutely
magic, to
needed that.
embody the change
Yes,
physiologically. And that helped
yes.
shift all the energy that was stuck internally.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that the
Mm-hmm.
breath,
Mm-hmm.
the movement, the flexing the muscles you haven't, touched for
Yes,
years,
moving the body. Yes.
yeah, moving. So then if you implement all that, the movement and the breath, you can start also implementing the mindset shift. And then it's a
Yes.
reality shift like
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Okay, without, because we got to spend some time. We could spend forever talking about your mindset shift. But what would be like, how would you plant the seed for mindset shifting for people who aren't aware yet? So
Um,
without get,
I
like
can
how
show
would,
you an
what's the phrase?
example.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
listening.
well, it's an embodiment example. So you like literally reach up. So let's say they're just like, they don't have any idea what we're talking about. This all sounds foreign: yoga, breath work, energy, what, right? So if you give them an imagination, because
Okay.
visualization, using our brain to visualize things, is so important. I don't know if you know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is,
I don't.
but he's a doctor who believes in the art of manifestation by in visualizing. And it's a
Okay.
proven fact. I've done it myself. And like this with my dream boards here. See my dream board for 2026. Okay.
Gorgeous. This is just your 2026.
This is coming. I'm adding all my stuff for it.
You're
But
adding
this is 20.
amazing
This
beauty.
is 3 years. This is 3 years
Okay,
worth of
okay.
stuff. I add to it every year.
Okay, yeah, I have mine too.
So visualization. Okay.
Okay.
So because anybody can do that, it's not rocket science. You can um, you know, find yourself sitting in a chair and close your eyes, and you just picture on the like top of your forehead just like a white blank space. And then
Hmm.
once you just see, okay, there's a white blank space, then you put a TV there, and then you play what you see yourself doing, whether it's, success. What does a happy CEO look like? What do you look like happy? Where would you be? What would you doing? What would you be making? You know, um, who would you be with? And just envision like your favorite place, and you're just standing there like, I want. Okay. So that one shift right there, because so many people become disconnected with
Ooh.
who and what they find joyful and who they really are inside. And so that's what the 4 P's is: power, planning, positioning, and profits. That is, and the first one is power, which is, the power of visualization, the power of positive energy, the power of self belief, and the power that embody this new identity of the happy CEO or happy entrepreneur or happy mom or happy whatever you want to be.
Right. I love this. I really do. I had a moment where I felt like my TV screen was flashing with all the good things just now. Like, but I love the idea that you, because all of my friends, we joke often about how delusional I sound as I talk about things, but they don't realize, like, no, I have made a declaration on what I want to experience. Like, for instance, everybody laughs because I'll say, "Oh, I'm so excited to see this person in concert," like, especially with Beyonce. And I'll say, "Well, is she on tour yet?" And I'm no. Well, does she have tour dates out? Oh, no. Has she announced anything? No. But I know that when all of that stuff happens, that I'll be a part of it. Like
Yes. Have
I
you
don't need the
already
details
decided?
right
Yeah,
now. I don't need
yeah, it
those
doesn't have
details
to
right
happen
now.
right now. And
I'm
that's the
okay
thing.
with that. Yeah.
So that's the first step to manifestation, is really taking time to really get real with yourself. And what does make you happy? Being on stage with Beyonce, going to her concert, being like VIP. Yeah, that makes me happy. Just see yourself walking down that red carpet. Yeah, I even know
Right?
what dress I'm gonna wear. Like
Right. And I do.
but so we can think things all day though. So the next step is really,
Okay.
bringing it. Yeah. So that would be for the beginner that's just like, okay, then they're like, okay, well then what? And then that's when I'm like, you need the happy method. And so that's when I bring clients in, because they want to know the 9 steps to inner freedom so they can do that. Because I've done it hundreds of times. I mean, I've
Right.
um, invented my life from burnout, overweight, fed up, to happy, loving my life, living in Phoenix on my own terms, traveling all over. I was in Jamaica and Fiji and Africa and Turkey and Vietnam
Ooh,
in the last 18 months.
yes,
Like, I,
baby.
yeah,
Yes.
like, and I have the best coaches, so it's like you decide. And that's the other thing. You will find yourself getting more successful faster if you have mentors and coaches.
Yes, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
So getting a coach or a mentor is like key, because, and you want to find one specific to the area that you want to scale, like, um, I mean, people get physical coaches, for the gym and, for
Yeah.
golfing. How about one for your business? How about one for love? How about one for mindset? How about one?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I think we're coming full circle where we went from community being such a mandatory, necessary part to a very capitalism works. Everything is convenient. You just do this one job and then you go live the rest of your life. To now we're needing to come, we've gone the full spectrum of that and even into the deep end of it. And in order to really survive, we're going to have to come back to the space of having thoughtful community. And that includes elders, that includes
Mhm.
like leaders, that includes specialists, people who are excellent at that one thing. We're
Yeah.
gonna need those communities, that village of people that support us into our next season.
Yes, and that's so true. Like consultants, like I wouldn't have my business if I didn't hire a consulting coach firm to help me build my business or
Hmm.
launch my podcast
Hmm.
or write my books. So,
Hmm.
it's like we need people. We need to be of service to one another
We do.
and collaborate, in a way that everyone's self-sufficient and is like operating in their own terms. Because right now, the matrix, you go to school, you get a degree, you get your retirement, you get your career, you get your 401k, you get married, you have 2.5 kids. You're supposed to do that,
In
but
theory, I love to hear the word should, because my brain automatically yells out in theory.
Yeah.
Because should is a great idea. It's very plausible. It could be very possible, but it may not be what's happening right now. And if it isn't, then it's an opportunity to adjust to what is happening right now. But I
And I had to do that too, you know. I had to I had to pivot because COVID shut down all my clients because it was a
mm.
restaurant business and hotel management and golf courses and stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it literally
What was that
I
like?
it was so scary. And I'd already jumped corporate and had been working like 3 years on my terms, and I just started my podcast, and this was in like 2019 or
Mhm.
no 2017 I started, and it was going great. And then and I had like 15 clients actually. That's part of the story, the Ignite Limitless Success, one of my books. I talk about jumping corporate ship after burnout and just you know pretty my midlife crisis. I had 2 back surgeries. I mean, it was the worst experience for me. I'm not saying that's the same for everyone, but for me it was. um
I'm sorry to hear that.
so yeah,
But
I
you
had
do
to.
not look like what you've been through. So
Yeah, and this isn't even my, yeah. Well, thank you. And I'm not gonna tell you how old I
and she
am
said this
because
isn't
I'll
even
be
my
old.
she said this isn't even my best. I understand.
Wait a minute, wow, 'cause this camera we're using right now. I had a tech error today, but and thank you. I accept compliments. Thank you, thank you. You look beautiful too. I love the yellow. I was wishing I wore something brighter, but
No, you're
um
perfect. That's how you are.
I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's a hard pivot, but sometimes we have to do it to save ourselves. And that's literally what it was. I was stuck in the corporate box. I was, dependent on my corporate salary. I was scared to lose the security because I had, sold my restaurants and only had like 2 payroll clients on the side that I was helping. So I didn't really have my side hustle income anymore. And I
Mhm.
was just working a 9 to 5 and just killing myself day after day because I was feeling very undervalued and, overworked and underpaid. And it was just self defeating. And I was like, had like, you know, 3 of my best friend passed away and then my grandparents passed away. And so I was in like this
I'm sorry
massive
to hear that.
depression. I had to have 2 back surgeries. I mean, I literally self-imploded. Like, I don't even know how I herniated 2 discs because I think it was just that I was just stuffing all these emotions. I was just so sad. I was just so upset. I was just so disappointed that I knew how to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year when I had my restaurants and when my accounting business. And why am I settling for this salary? I was thinking it was going to be the good life. I was thinking that
Yeah.
just work 9 to 5 and turn off the phone and I could have my own personal life, paid holidays, vacation, 401k and all the insurance. And it just wasn't that for me. So, but it was very, I waited too long. I should have just
Mm.
went back inside and found that energy of that entrepreneur that I knew I was, that I did, the fire had kind of dwindled. And I always knew that how to make money online. I had like e-commerce stores and, I just, I kind of lost myself, I guess is what it was. And
I like to call that honoring the frequency. Especially, and I always say this about people who have very specific frequencies. People who are like people who play basketball. I feel like they have a frequency that's different from people who do ballet, right? But within that frequency, if you can sustain that high energy, you have to make space for the amount of low energy that you're going to experience with that.
yeah.
It's mandatory. It's not
Mhm.
fun, and it's not that you deserve bad things if you're going to get good things. Not saying any of that, but in
Yeah.
honoring the frequency, full frequency is going to have ups and downs within it.
Yeah.
But
Ebbs
that
and
made
flows of
space for
life.
that made space for that amazing launch that you took afterwards, though.
Yeah, and that was the best revenge for myself. And like just
Oh, I
I
love that you called it revenge. Yes.
I was like, because money and currency is the biggest revenge. People, is a great way to prove to yourself you did
Mhm.
good and also
Yeah.
other people. It's a way to prove that, okay, I made the right decision. But that was building the self belief that I had broken inside. I really was self defeated, I think, and I just couldn't get out of the mad cycle. So
Yeah.
I hired a coach. I hired Alan Knight, my Zen Zone coach, who taught me the 9 steps to inner freedom.
Okay.
And it is about self accountability and going to the inside gym. Like we go to the gym when we're
Mm.
feeling overweight or weak.
The inside gym. I love this.
Yeah.
And I even want to write it out and spell gym GEM instead of GYM.
GEM. Oh,
Hmm.
gym. Yeah, the inside gym. You should find that again.
But I love that.
Yeah.
But I genuinely do because I feel like during the pandemic was when I had my inner gym experience where I was able to really spend some time doing my inner development. It was one thing to learn yoga and to start practicing, but to have a pause big enough to prioritize it.
Yeah, that wasn't that great. Me too. I wrote my books during COVID.
Yeah.
I created my program during COVID and my academy and um, started. Yeah, it was
It,
great. It was
it
so
sounds like it sounds like you got a fresh start.
I did so because when COVID hit, when I had already jumped corporate, and then they shut down all the restaurants and hotels and golf courses and banquet halls and everything that my clients.
And who could have
And
predicted that? Like it was just such a blindsiding
yeah, it was.
experience. And it's so funny as I talk about my memories. I feel like there's a huge like 5 year gap, or at least a 3 year gap, where there were all of the memories were drastically different than the ones that came before then. And it was like, oh, that was a long time ago, and in chronological order. But in my how I experienced it, it doesn't feel that way. That's how drastic that period felt.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Because I actually it was bizarre because I had the most crazy transformation during that time when you would think I'm like hitting rock bottom revenue wise because all my clients had to close their doors other than like a few that I was getting federal EIDL money for and PPP and stuff. So I mean I did
Mhm.
have some clients, but like 80% of my business, everyone was shut down. Um, but I did keep some of my mission based clients and things like that. But I
Mhm.
was living alone, in Portland. My daughter is off. She was 20 already and already in college. And
Okay.
yeah, so I was empty nesting for the first time. And then COVID hit, and I'm like trapped in my condo by myself, isolated, freaking out, wondering how am I going to help my daughter in school or because she was living, in a different town going to the university. And then, um, I still have to pay all the bills in Portland, and then, my clients aren't showing up, and I'm going stir crazy. I can't leave without the police
Yeah.
standing even at the dog park with all their guns and everything, saying, "Put your mask on," and I'm outside in nature, and they're like, and then like my office downtown was getting bombed by the Antifa and the peaceful protests that were going on. Yeah, it was like zombie apocalypse. All these inbreds came out with guns and face paint, and they were hiking down the street with rifles, and and they broke my friend's leg. Like they, yeah, it was crazy. I was like, I have to get out of here. Like this is literally insanity
Now you gotta go now. Run for the
now.
hills.
Yeah, so
Oh
I
my
packed my
goodness.
car, my little Benz. I packed my little Benz and took my dog and drove to Phoenix. And I was like, I'm
Okay.
moving here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I left
I'm
I left
so
my
sorry that
condo,
was
my
your
daughter,
experience.
everything. And as soon as I got here, it was like I was a brand new person. The energy shift was so obvious. I could see it in my face, my skin, how I felt when I woke up. I'm like, oh my God, I finally did it. I've been trying to get
Mhm.
out of Oregon for 45 years. to get the heck out of here. Like I wanted to leave in my 20s, but I couldn't, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, but you survived it. And you know what? I think it's so I was you called it bizarre and then you segued into it and you meant exactly what you said about bizarre. But everybody had such a bizarre 2020 for so
Mhm.
many different reasons. For so many different reasons. But I love that you took control of the most detrimental factor, it seemed like it was the environment.
Mhm.
Like
Oh, yeah. It was so hostile. And Oregon was always so peaceful. Like I'm
I would have
peaceful.
never expected that from Oregon.
I know.
All the
And
people are rooting for you.
oh yeah, no. And it's still trying to recover. Like they damaged that city, Portland especially. It was just so dangerous. You know, they defunded the police, so there was no due process. So everyone was getting away with everything, and there was just so much
Oh,
crime. So I left, and it was the best thing I ever did.
I
So
am so glad that you are in Phoenix.
yeah, me too.
I'm so glad that you are in Phoenix. So let
Yeah.
me ask you this. What would you tell the aspiring happy CEO, the aspiring happy mom? How would you, what would be your 2026 advice or phrase that pays or a
Mm.
theme to attach to or a vibe? How are you feeling out your 2026?
Um, well, you know, I think a lot of times we get stuck on the goals, which is great. I always have my goals, written out. I have my,
Yes,
thing for 2026 written out.
yes, yes,
And I reflect, I go back and look at this year and then I evaluate all the great things and all the not so great things.
for
And
sure.
then I find out what I need to change and
Mm-hmm,
what I need to keep doing and doing more of.
mm-hmm,
But I do, we're all human. We can find ourselves being complacent or procrastinating or getting analysis paralysis, just getting stuck in the details and getting overwhelmed, you know? Or so I would say envision it and don't get too stuck on the details on the listing and that, but to envision you successful into 2026 and, you know, embody that vision, then write it
mm-hmm.
out. What was that vision? Oh, hello? Is it
Charity, you
working?
there?
Yeah, are you here? Hello? Hello? Oh, it's saying, are you there? Hello?
Mm-hmm. I can see you now. I can
Mm-hmm.
see you
I can
there.
see you now. I can see you. Okay. Oh, I forgot where we were
So if
at.
you don't mind, let's redo that because I only got a little bit of what you were saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. Wait. Hello?
Recording in progress.
Hello?
Okay, cool. Start it up
Hello?
again. Can you see me and hear me and everything?
Oh, that's so weird. Now it's in Zoom. Should I leave it on in Zoom? Why is it on Zoom? That's so
Zoom.
weird.
No, you should turn off Zoom. We
That
should
is
only be in
so weird.
Riverside.
Oh my God, that was bizarre. Okay.
But
Oh,
your
it is
quality
on.
and
Okay,
everything is
so.
back good. Are you able to see and visualize me?
Yeah, I can see you. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Is it working?
All right. Yeah, I think we're still recording, but let's go back and start the question over again. About
Okay.
2020 advice, for aspiring women and aspiring CEOs and moms and whatnot. How would you approach your 2026 vibe? Okay. Okay, cool.
Okay.
All righty. So, charity for 2026. What would be like your phrase that pays or your theme, or what should we give the aspiring CEOs and mommies and entrepreneurs? How should they start off their 2026? What energy should we kick it off with?
Well, all about clarity, hence the clarity with charity brand. So I
Love it, love
think
it.
getting really clear on
Ooh,
your success by
okay.
envisioning it, you know, first and saying, okay, if I could lose 20 pounds, if I was like, my favorite vacation spot and I'm getting paid and I got clients here and I got money here and I got love here and I got this here and I got all this. Yes, yes, yes. Get into that.
Okay.
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 So envision that and then write out your action steps to get there. And then
Okay.
make like a strategy essentially for your happy life in 2026 to get that outcome where you want to be standing in 12 months. How do you want to feel? What do you want to have accomplished? How much will you be making? Who will you be with? Will you be living? That vision you had. And then read that every morning and tick off the action items. And you could do one win a day. That's all
Oh,
it
I'm
is.
in love with this.
And what
I'm
you're gonna do.
in love with this. That's such a way to stay devoted to your, such a self devotional. I
Yeah.
love this. Oh, I love
Yes.
this. I'm so gonna do this.
Yeah, me too.
I
See, I have
love
started. I'm on it, girl.
I love this because I definitely do my vision board at the beginning of the year, and then I have my planners that have my goals for the year in them, and I work them into my weekly calendar and stuff like that. But I do that professionally. I don't know if I have something personally like by my bed that I can read as like a daily devotional. I like the
To
idea of
yourself.
that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. I think
And
that's
the
beautiful.
other thing, yes. Well, and the first one should be a letter to yourself, telling yourself that you're reading this every morning or, 12 months from now, how proud you are about the success and the changes and the moves that you made that year. You know, um, and just send yourself some love. And
Yeah.
that goes with the little action plan. Or you could even do that in like 3 and 6 months. I do it every 3, 6, 9. So I do a
Hmm.
30, 60, 90. Um, just to like, so I like bite-sized
Yeah.
chunks, but
Hmm.
the vision itself is the key, and really believing in it and then like getting into it, dancing like, yeah, I'm gonna win. You
Yes,
know,
I
you
love
gotta
that.
be sure.
I'll make you laugh. Hopefully this will make you laugh. I was preparing for an event for a meet and greet for a group that I'd like to participate in. And so I was getting all in the zone and I was totally overdressed, which I purposely did because I want to show up how I want to be received. And then I was putting my perfume on and I started singing at the top of my lungs Jennifer Hudson's verse from Dreamgirls, "You're gonna love me." And I just sang it at the top of my lungs because that's the energy I wanted to be present and dominant
Right.
in my spirit when I went into that room. And that way I wasn't focused on will they like me or,
Right.
am I good enough or, who am I going to be in the room with? None of that was important because my focus was we are absolutely going to connect and you're going
You're
to love
in
me.
your
So
soul.
I love it.
Yes.
In your soul, your whole soul is
Yes.
going to love me.
In your soul. That's what you need to get
I
into
was
your soul
so
space and believe
specific. Yes.
it.
And that's what it does. And everybody laughs because everybody talks about how delusional I am, but I am delusional because that's my mentally creative space to bring into my reality. I make a lot of declarations like
And that will be your
I'll
best
see Beyonce at
superpower.
a concert. Yes, it is. It is because I get so much
Mhm.
support from those declarations. The less details I have, but the more committed I am to the experience, that's when I get the support from everybody else in the universe and all of the spirituality. That's when all of
And it
that
just
stuff
all
happens.
attract. because you are
That
in your
that's the
soul space. You're not in
magic.
the ego. They're not gonna like me. Oh, I'm nervous. Oh, I'm stressed. Oh, I gotta be this. Oh, I gotta be that. Oh, I'm not
No,
the ego. And but when you get into your soul space, you eliminate all that and you radiate just like that beautiful yellow. Your soul is just glowing, and everyone's just loving it.
exactly. That's what I was
Yes,
going for.
yes.
So thank you,
Do
Jennifer
that every day,
Hudson and Dream
2026.
Girl. Okay, I will. I
Do that
absolutely
every
will.
day.
I
In the
did.
car, when you're on your way, before your podcast, do that, do that.
Yes, you got to tap in. Back in the day when I worked for L'Oreal, when we would do big trade shows, there's one song by Kanye that I just love off of his Saint Pablo album, and it just gets the people going. And so whenever I would do trade shows, I would make sure I heard that song. Like we
Yeah.
would play it earlier, play the album or whatever, but I would make sure I heard that song before I would go out and do my little thing, because
Mhm.
that got me in the space of this is who I am in this moment and this is how I prioritize that. And it's just the energy was awesome. The energy
I
was
love it.
awesome. Yeah.
That's
I love
key. And a lot of people are, they stay stuck in their own energy and they're not, connecting with themselves. They're just kind of like, stuck in their ego and their mind and they need to connect more with their creativity and their
yeah.
fun and the thing that's bring them joy. I have to do a joy list so I don't forget what it brings me joy. So I can bake joy into my calendar and I actually calendar joyful activities that I like to do.
I am totally stealing this. I hope you
Yeah.
know that. Because I love the idea of a joy list. Something that I let me be clear, I love a list. It doesn't matter what's on it. But I love the idea that this is on this group. This all fits together, you know? But a joy list, being as intentional about your obligations as you are as about your joy. That's just how
Yeah.
obvious is this? That was great.
Yeah, I
That was
know.
great.
It's a real eye opener. And the happy CEO method, that's just the P part. We're talking about power right now. That's what you can get in
Right.
alignment with yourself and the visioning. Then there's actionable steps, a GPS, your inner GPS, or a business GPS, depending on if you're a mom CEO who's chief everything officer of the whole house, family, business, everything. And then
Hmm.
there's CEOs that own multi-million-dollar corporations or entrepreneurs that are scaling to 100, six hundred or yeah, six figures or
Six
whatnot.
figures. Yeah.
Six figures, six figures. I mean, that's a good goal. Like that's where we
Yeah.
start. Any agency, professional service, someone who has a talent, a trade, has a degree, has a career, can make a business out of that. And a one person agency usually can make up to $250,000 a year if they work full time. And solves a problem for the public or for the people, or it's a product that solves a problem. So if you're, an attorney, an accountant, um, an administrator, a marketing agency, or even if you're a carpenter or, a
Yeah.
contractor or whatever, like these people, that was bare minimum, you know,
Yeah.
that you can make $250,000 a year, and then if you scale, that's when you can make it into 7 and 8 figures. But so that's what the happy CEO method is really to get people to that elevated vision of themselves so they can get out of that corporate box or that limiting belief about who they are and their success and how to get there. Because a
I
lot of people try to say, oh, you have to have a degree or you have to have parent support or you need $20,000 to start a business. I started my Now Answer group that scaled to over 7 figures. That's endorsed by Kevin Harrington with $250 in my bank account. I
Yep.
was at my ultimate low. Okay. I was jumping the corporate ship. I just had back surgery. I broke up with my fiance. My daughter was unruly. I was in pain. I needed out. And I started my business. I registered my domain name. I registered with the Secretary of State and I got my EIN and I opened my bank account with $250 because all the rest of that was free.
Yeah.
You can actually start a business in the US for free. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really about, you know, the
What you're willing to invest
momentum.
in all of the
Yeah,
areas.
timelines.
Yeah.
Yeah, how clear are you on what you are doing? So that's why we do the GPS to get the clarity. First, we got to get the
Yeah.
goal, then we got to get the vision. Then we get into the business GPS or the lifetime GPS and really dial into how can I make this actually not just a dream board, but
Right.
reality.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. My
Yeah.
mom always would answer the question. Go ahead. What were we saying?
Oh, what? Go ahead.
Oh, my mom would always say, "How do you eat an elephant?" And what's the basic question? And the response would always be one bite at a time. That
Yes.
doesn't mean you can't have the elephant if you can't take it in one bite. And it doesn't mean that your small bites won't completely eat the elephant. But if you want that elephant, you have to do it one bite at a time, and
Yeah.
digest it. So I think that's
Yeah.
excellent that
Yeah.
you have a system of walking people through the transitional space of their minds. Like, and
Mhm.
now more than ever, we're in such a cerebral space. I feel like we live more in our minds and our heads than we do anywhere. We're more lonely in rooms than we've ever been because we're so cerebral. But
Mhm.
that's not an issue if you know how to do it. So
Right,
I
it's
think
good for
it's
you
brilliant that
actually.
you have that. Yeah, I think it's
People need
brilliant that
focus.
you have that.
They yeah, they need to get in with themselves. And while you're doing that, instead of feeling alone, feeling sorry for myself, we all feel that we are human condition. Like it's hard. It's something you work on, and then you end up loving your time together with yourself because you're
Yeah.
constantly moving the needle, you know,
Hmm.
and that's what it takes. You kind of have to get dialed in. And so that's why we do the 5 weeks, so it's 5 weeks and it's accelerated. So within 5 weeks, you have, the winning, happy CEO method mindset. You have your tracking system with your business GPS. You get your $1 billion branding strategy and publish on ABC, CBS, NBC, your story, your product, your business. And we make sure you show up first on Google, and then we talk about profits because I'm a numbers girl. Because I have an
Hmm.
accounting degree. I had an accounting business and fractional CFO forever. So then people usually want to just skate over the numbers, but numbers tell stories and
They do.
is really important to know at least five numbers if you're going to have a business.
What are
So
those
you want
five numbers?
well, KPIs, so key percentage
KPIs.
indicators. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that would be your revenue, your gross profit, your
Mm-hmm.
adjusted gross profit, and your net, and your earnings EBITDA. It's called EBITDA, so it's earnings before income tax and depreciation.
Okay.
So
I
that's
guess so.
the and they're like, but simple, like the systems that we set up, it makes it so nobody really has to know accounting or be worried because the systems that we
Right.
have book all the expenses, set up all the income statements, all the stuff that we have at the end, you can take to an investor, you can take to the bank, you can take to,
Right. It's the
yeah,
right
so
communication.
it's like the real stuff. So people that are really dedicated and like ready to like be real with themselves about owning a business or, changing their life and how they run things and automate them and use these high tech tools. Because we
Mm-hmm.
also have the Clarity AI network, which is
Oh,
the
that's cool.
yeah, it's a huge development, and there's over 150 apps that we have in there that my clients get access to that help with book writing, podcasts, super fast funnels. They get that in the positioning, the $1 billion branding strategy part of the program. So, and it's only 5 weeks. So I know it sounds like overwhelming, but really it's like the best 5 weeks that you could invest in yourself. And,
Yeah.
you get all this at the end, and then you have your business set up. You have this winning mindset. You got your life back. You feel energized and happy. You got a good vision of yourself. You have a community that wants to support
Right.
you. You got all these coaches and consultants that have all these skills that want to help you be successful. So what do you have to lose?
What do you really have to lose? Okay. So how do we get in touch with you, or how do we start the process? How do we connect with you? Where do we find you?
Yeah, well, I you can find me on Instagram, my Charity Brown Biz there. I also my website, charitybrown.biz, the Create Clarity with Charity podcast and book on Amazon. The podcast is all over on all the sites, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and my YouTube channel, but there's all booking links. So you just book a free call and we jump on for 45 minutes and we get to know each other and I share the process and see if you're a good candidate.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that so much. This has been such a rewarding conversation because it feels so affirming. It people need to we all need the opportunity to know, to be reminded or to learn or to experience that your mind is a muscle that needs to grow too. I think you, honey, you took me over when you called it the inner gym. That just did it for me because
Yes.
you have to put that much effort and that priority status on your inner development, and that's in
Hmm.
any position that you're playing in any life. So I'm super grateful that we were able to connect and to hear about the happy CEO and how we can break through all of this burnout and all this extra work that we're doing. How can we simplify to thrive, right? So,
Exactly. And that's it. Simplify to thrive and get really clear because sometimes it's just chaos and we need to
yes.
just get clear. And that's the only thing we need to do. And it sounds so simple, but it's not that simple when you're living in such a busy world.
And it's not simple when you are not ready to address the underlying emotions that are holding you attached. And once
Right.
you are
Well,
ready
you
to
have to be
shift
ready to
those
grow
emotions,
and really do the work. Yeah.
yeah, once
So-
you're ready to have new feelings and new experiences, and I know I talk about this book in every episode, but there's a book, The Subtle Art of Not Getting a Fuck. But within one of the chapters, it talks about we are all winning at something, even if that means you're losing. If you're winning at losing, until you're ready to win at winning, you'll be comfortable winning at losing. So
yeah.
you gotta be ready to grow, gotta be ready to do that. But I appreciate that we have charity available to help us transition, to help us
Yeah.
transcend.
Yes.
This is awesome.
I'm
I'm
so
so
excited for
grateful to
everyone.
connect with
If you
you.
guys do that, you're going to love it.
I think you should. So check this episode out and all the episodes of Energy is Currency or wherever you podcast. We're on Spotify, um, Amazon, Apple, Pandora, iHeart, everywhere you podcast. And if you want to learn more about me, I'm mba.lexi.show. And you can connect with me at blushbiz.online.com. So just remember, above all things, your energy is your currency. And I hope you make the most of it. Have a good one.